This is the most overpowered offense in college football 26. My name is Spruce, and today I'm going to break down my 3 favorite plays from this scheme and then take them into some online games to show you exactly how they work against real competition online. And if you want to check out our full Miami offense game plan, which includes even more unstoppable money plays and one-play touchdowns, you can find it on playbookprofessor.gg. And so starting off, we are looking at the best quick snap play in the entire game, which is especially perfect for when you're dealing with the effects of Stadium Pulse. The play is Motion Mesh Post in the formation Gun Trips Y Slot Weak. And so this is the play Motion Mesh Post, and we always want to run this with our formation flipped so that our trips receivers are lined up on the wide side of the field. Now, all 5 routes on this play are awesome, and the best part about this play, like I said before, is that you can run this with 0 hot routes, meaning if you're dealing with the effects of Stadium Pulse, this is the play that you want to call. Now, when you press the hike button, your tight end is going to come in auto motion, and then at the snap, he's going to wheel up the short sideline. And if he's open right away, we're going to zip it out to him. He is the first read on this play. And so we're going to immediately look at him. If we're going to pass that ball down and outside, possession catch it if needed, and that's an easy 10 yards. We're not going to usually be throwing to him, but if your opponent is leaving it that open, you always have to look at it just in case. Let's say your opponent is in a stock cover 3. The second read on this play after the tight end wheel route is going to be your running back in the flat. And if your opponent is not putting a hard flat on the side of the running back, we're going to take those easy yards every time. Now, the important thing here is the pass lead. Because we don't have a ton of sideline, we have to pass lead this ball up. As long as we pass lead it up, we can get a ton of yards after the catch. And what I absolutely love about this play that people don't realize is that the tight end ends up serving as a lead blocker when you throw to the flat route. So look right here. The running back catches it in the flat. Look at our tight end up there blocking that cornerback, and we have a huge gain down the sideline. I know flat routes are not exciting to people, but this running back flat route with this tight end lead blocking can go for a ton of yards. And so always look at your running back in the flat. Now, let's say your opponent is in cover 3, but they shade down. They're like, we're not going to just give you a free flat route. The third and fourth reads on this play are going to be your 2 drags crossing over the middle of the field. Now, these are mesh drags, and mesh drags are a little bit different than normal drags. What mesh drags will do is against zone coverage, they will sit down in the soft spots between the zones. Now, against man coverage, they'll just run across the field like normal, but against zone coverage, they're going to be looking for the soft spot in between the zones and try to sit there. And so if one of them is sitting in a spot where there's no zone defenders, that is who we're going to hit. And so if we snap this ball, we're going to see that both of our drags are going to stop their route short. And in this case, we can hit the RB receiver and then get some easy yards after the catch. That's a really unique thing about mesh drags. Some people like it. Some people don't like it. Either way, you need to be aware of it. And if you don't want them to sit against zone coverage, just go ahead and put them on normal drags. Now, these mesh drags do amazing against man coverage as well. And so we'll put the defense here in cover 1. And I always tell people, if you're struggling to beat man coverage, just put double drags on the field. And with this play, we have the double drags on the field automatically. Now, the pass lead is important. You want to pass lead these throws out in front of the receiver. That could be all the difference between a huge gain on the ground after the catch and just getting a few yards because you get tackled right away. And so the pass lead is very important, but both these drags can get wide open against man coverage. And so that's why I absolutely love having this as a quick snap play as well. If your opponent covers you or blitzes you, you snap that ball, and in 1 second, you can throw to one of the drags. Now, the final read on this play is going to be our outside trips receiver on the post, and he's kind of covered up by the show play art here, but he is the far outside guy on the right in this case, and he is on this shallow post. And I love this post against both man and zone coverage. And so if we look at our opponent playing once again a shaded down cover 3 because they want to guard this running back flat route, they want to guard these drags, you're going to see that the post is going to get in an amazing job in kind of like a soft spot in between the zones over this linebacker. That linebacker basically ends up in conflict because he can't guard the drag underneath and the shallow post coming over the top of him. And so it is this linebacker right here, number 17. You see that he is kind of stuck. If he stays down on the drag, then he can't guard the post. If he stays up on the post, well, then the drag is wide open. So he's really just put in conflict with this high-low. And against cover 3 right there, it's an easy completion over the middle. Now, this post also can do great against man coverage. In this particular case, Clemson has a superstar defensive back out there. And so I don't know if our receiver is going to be able to beat him in this particular case, but I have thrown this post so many times against man coverage. We'll give him a shot anyway, and right there we'll kind of just pass lead inside. And even without much separation, a good pass lead inside still had a completion. And so you can see that even against a superstar defensive back with a good pass lead, that's an easy completion. If it's not a superstar defensive back, you will often see that post completely cook the defensive back. And I've had that happen a lot in my games. And so overall, this play, motion mesh post, I truly believe is the best quick snap play in the entire game. All 5 routes are viable. You don't need to make any hot routes. It beats man coverage, it beats zone coverage, and against match coverage, one of the drags will be open over the middle as well. And so I just think that this legitimately is one of the best quick snap plays in the entire game. Next, we are looking at a ridiculous coverage bomb that beats cover 2, cover 3, and cover 4 drop for a 1-play touchdown. The play is motion PA X over in the formation gun bunch strong offset. And so this is motion PA X over, and you always need to run this on a hash with your bunch receivers lined up on the wide side of the field. If you run it from the wrong hash, there's no guarantee that this bomb will work. Now, before the snap, there are 2 hot routes that we have to make. We're gonna take our solo receiver and put him on a comeback route, or we're gonna take our middle bunch receiver and put him on a streak. And when you press the hike button, your tight end's gonna come in this auto motion, and then he will block. And if you wanna set this play up a little bit better, there's a motion inside zone also in gun bunch strong offset with the same tight end motion. And so if you run that run play a few times, it'll make your opponent think it's a run play once again and draw down their user. Then you hit him over the top for the easy 1-play touchdown. And so to start off, we're going to look at cover 3, and I'm going to go ahead and put a QB contain and a spy on the field, because the reality is that the biggest enemy of this bomb, and really any coverage bomb in college football 26, is the pass rush. And so if your opponent is using a 3-man rush, that's when this will of course have the best chance of success. If you have a good O-line, though, that can hold their blocks for a couple seconds, you can, of course, run this against a 4-man rush as well. You can see that after the snap, we just have to wait for our post to cross the field, and that is about as easy as it gets for a 1-play touchdown. So let's look at the instant replay real quick, and what you're going to see... Oh, well, let me see the replay. There we go. What you're going to see is that the receiver on the comeback route is going to pull down the cornerback in the outside third. Our receiver on the streak is going to occupy the safety in the middle third, and that leaves absolutely nobody to guard our receiver on the post for the easy 1-play touchdown. And so that was cover 3. Let's go find ourselves a cover 4 drop, and you're going to see that it works exactly the same way. And so we'll go to cover 4, and I believe, yep, cover 4 drop and nickel 3-3 mint. Same exact thing, motion PA X over. And so this right here is cover 4 drop, and you would think this will have pretty good coverage, but it turns out this bomb is going to work exactly the same. We'll go ahead and snap this ball, and as long as the O-line holds up, and of course the O-line is not holding up for us, but practice mode is kind of just weird anyway, and so let's try that once again. Practice mode block sheds in both Madden and college football are just always kind of ridiculous, but you can see that even right here against cover 4 drop, your guy will try to stop for a brief second, so you don't want to wait too long, but you can see that it still worked out perfectly fine. Like I said, don't wait for him to stop and then throw it. As long as you throw the ball when he's still running, you'll be okay. It's the exact same thing though as cover 3. You can see that the comeback route pulls down the outside quarter, and then this streak right here ends up occupying both inside quarters. And so we just have to pass that ball outside, and once again, it's an easy 1-play touchdown. Now let's talk about cover 2. And so we'll go to Tampa 2 right here. And if you just run this against the computer against cover 2, then this mid-read will often drop back and guard the streak, because the streak is really who we're going to be targeting against cover 2. Now, the reality is that in an actual game, the user almost always ends up coming down, especially if you do, like I said, set this play up with the motion inside zone. When you set it up with the motion inside zone, this user is coming down 10 times out of 10. And so you don't actually have to worry about this mid-read playing the streak. And so I'm just going to QB spy him out right now to kind of simulate the user coming down. And so what's going to happen is after the snap, you're going to be able to throw to the streak with a pass lead inside, and that is an easy 1-play touchdown. Again, of course, it's not as deep of a throw as the post, but you can see that that streak is just going to split the safeties, and then the post out here also kind of helps push that safety outside. I'm saying this guy right here on his outside stem, he kind of pushes that deep halfback, and so you can just pass this ball inside, split the 2 safeties over the middle, and you've got yourself an easy touchdown against cover 2. And so that is Motion PA X Over. It beats cover 2, cover 3, and cover 4. And in fact, let's do a bonus rep, guys. I'm going to put the defense here in cover 1, and you're going to see that this post can even get open against man coverage as well. I usually throw this against zone coverage, but this post actually can get separation against man coverage as well. You can see that he's trying to fight through the bumping. You can see that that's an easy one-play touchdown against man as well. And that's even with him getting bumped. And so Motion PA X Over, I truly believe this is the best one-play touchdown in the game. And so if you watch to the end of this segment, you got to see it even beats man coverage as well. But if you're looking for a one-play touchdown that beats basically any coverage, Motion PA X Over is the play you're looking for. Finally, we are looking at an amazing short yardage setup that is perfect for when you need to pass the ball in the red zone. The play is quick rub return or goal line rub return, depending on your playbook, and we are back in the formation gun trips Y slot week. So this is the play quick rub return, and we always want to have our formation flipped so that our trips receivers are lined up on the wide side of the field. Now, there's only one adjustment that we have to make before the snap, and that is to take our solo receiver and put him on a deep dig route. So we're going to first put him on an in route, then we're going to custom stem his route up by 2 clicks on the D-pad. So for custom stem, go to your hot routes menu, select your receiver, hold down LB or L1 for custom stem, and then 2 clicks up on the D-pad, and now he's running his dig route along the back of the end zone. Now also for this tight end, if we were out in the middle of the field, I would put him on a streak, but since we're down here closer to the goal line, I'm going to leave him on a corner route, and you'll see why in just a little bit. Now, whenever I'm labbing red zone passing setups, I always like to lab against 3 types of defense: shaded down cover 3, shaded down cover 2, and press man coverage. And so to start, let's look at some shaded down cover 3, and you're going to see here, and this could be the same against cover 2 as well, but what's going to happen is that we're going to have 2 reads on both our quick slant from the outside trips receiver and our return route for our middle trips receiver. And one of these guys is going to be open every single time. And so right there, the return route is the one that's open. And if we look at the replay real quick, what we're going to see that's happening is that this linebacker on the right side is being put in conflict. And so as our outside receiver comes across on this quick slant, he is being pulled inside. And as a result, there's a huge window for us to throw to our return route for the easy touchdown. And it's going to be the exact same thing if it's shaded down cover 2. So let's put the defense in a shaded down cover 2 this time. But it's going to be the exact same thing. If we go ahead and snap this ball, you're going to see that the slant is going to pull guys inside once again. And we have the return route open for an easy touchdown. I think that was a touchdown, or maybe he dropped it. I don't know. But he was wide open either way. And so same exact concept. And of course, if your opponent wanted to, like, let's say this is the user right here. If he wanted to fully commit to guarding this return route, so we can kind of like man him up and pretend that he's going to just manually guard the return route, then of course that means there's going to be no one to guard the quick slant over the middle, and now that's just the easiest completion ever. And so that's why our first 2 reads are always going to be just that 1-2 punch of the quick slant and the return route. And if both of those were covered, we would of course then look at the corner route and our deep dig along the back of the end zone. Now the other type of defense we want to look at is going to be press man coverage. So I'm going to put the defense here into cover 1 and go ahead and press. And what you're going to see here is that we're actually going to be able to create a rub concept with our outside trips receiver on this quick slant. And that's kind of why the play is called quick rub return. But what's going to happen is that more often than not, the outside trips receiver on the quick slant is going to pass right under the return route. It's going to create some bumping that's going to bump the defender off and give you at least a yard or 2 of separation. And you can hit the quick slant over the middle. So if we go ahead and snap this ball, you're going to see that there's the bumping right there. And it's not anything super crazy, but it's also enough to get the separation. We look at the replay real quick, and you see all you need is just that yard or 2 to make all the difference. And so here's our outside receiver. He cuts inside, and look at the bump right here. That's the bump. And I know there wasn't much, but when you watch it in real time, you can kind of see the slowdown a little bit. Like he had to slow up to kind of pass in between those 2 players. So even if there technically wasn't a bump, you can see right here, he is getting bumped. There's the bump right there. And it slows him down just enough that now you have separation for an easy completion over the middle. We'll do it one more time. Go cover 1 once again, press, let everybody get set, get our deep dig on our solo receiver. And when we snap this ball, we're going to see, once again, that's an even bigger bump. And now we are down there, not in the end zone, but we're still down to like the 1 yard line. And at that point, we can just go goal line. And so you'll see the bump one more time over here. And this time it was even much more pronounced than before. He cuts underneath, they run into each other, and now you have a ton of separation for an easy completion to your receiver. And maybe you fall forward into the end zone, or at the very least, you're down to the 1 yard line. Now, the other route that we're going to have to beat press man coverage is going to be this tight end corner route. And so if we put the defense in cover 1 once again, we'll see how this tight end corner route runs. And obviously, it kind of depends on the route rating of your tight end. But if you have even an average tight end, you can usually get a little bit of separation, pass it outside, and possession catch it, and you've got the easy touchdown. And so I really like the corner route down here in the end zone. And then sometimes your deep dig can come open as well. It's definitely going to depend on the particular receiver that you have there. But in general, the play quick rub return is really, really solid for beating zone coverage or press man coverage or whatever your opponent throws at you when you're trying to pass the ball down around the goal line. So now that we've looked at how awesome these setups are, I'm going to hop into a couple of online head-to-head games to show you guys how they work against real competition. And like always, other than when we're at the goal line, I'm going to challenge myself to only use the 3 plays that we just looked at. And so here we go with our first game running the setups that we just looked at. I'm, of course, playing with the Miami Hurricanes. We are taking on the Clemson Tigers. And one thing I don't like is that EA removed our records from this screen before the game. I did hear from a developer that it was because there were certain players who would see the record, and then if they were playing someone good, they had a method where they would dashboard and not take a loss. And so they removed the records until they can get that fixed. But we are going to be starting off on offense with Clemson kicking off to us. And so to start off, I am in Motion Mesh Post. And just like we saw in the breakdown, we are not running any hot routes or anything. We're just snapping that ball. And right away, our opponent is leaving the running back flat open. And we actually get a nice broken tackle, and we make some guys miss after the catch. And it's just like we talked about, guys. Always take your checkdowns. And so right here, I decided to call quick rub return just to get a feel for how my opponent is playing. I didn't want to spam motion mesh post every time. And I thought I had a little bit more separation there against the man coverage. But you can see that that slant is so good that even without much separation, it's still an easy completion. And so once again, we are back in motion mesh post. And I'm not even really that concerned about what defense my opponent is in, because we're just going to go through our read progression and take whatever's open. And once again, the flat route unguarded. I'm going to take the running back flat route every single time. You guys are probably going to get bored because I'm throwing the flat route so much, but if it's open, I'm going to take it. Now right here, I go to motion PA X Over because I'm about in range to attempt this bomb. And I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, I miss. My streak is open. It's cover 2. The streak was open for a touchdown. I missed the read. Fortunately, I was able to come back to the comeback route anyway, and we still get a really nice gain, but I am really mad at myself for missing the streak because that's the first read against cover 2. It was a touchdown if I had just thrown it, but there's nothing wrong with getting a nice gain down the sidelines anyway. And then on 1st and goal, we are going to be back in quick rub return, and I am using the streak here on my tight end rather than the corner route. We got the deep dig on the solo receiver. And in this case, I just had to wait for the slant route to cross the field. And there we are into the end zone for an easy touchdown. And so after forcing a turnover on my opponent's first drive, we are back in motion mesh post. It is flipped though. Remember, we want those trip receivers on the wide side of the field. And my opponent is still not guarding the running back flat route. And like I said, guys, I'm going to take that every single time. I love free 5-yard gains. I'll take free 5-yard gains all the way up and down the field. I'm like, okay, motion mesh post once again. Let's see if they will finally guard the flat. Some people will just never, ever guard the flat. They don't think you'll actually do it. They don't think you'll actually throw the flat every time. Now, right there was a very bad animation from EA Sports. I think that's just kind of inexcusable. I don't know what the heck that was. And so I'm probably gonna have to send that to EA because I think that was ridiculous with what happened there. But that's okay. Same thing, motion mesh post. And this time, our mesh drag absolutely obliterated the man coverage, and we have easy yards down the sideline. We are down to the 15-yard line. And so right here, I'm running motion mesh post once again, a little too far out to run quick rub return. Once again, the tight end comes in motion. We're just going to be making all our reads. And this time, with my opponent just kind of blanketing about like the 5-yard depth to take away both of our drags, I was like, well, there's a lot of space to roll out, so I'll just go ahead and scramble, and I'll take the easy yards on the outside, and we are down to the 8-yard line. And right here, if you guys saw our Alabama offense video, you know I love to play halfback angle screen, and it was a little bit of a close call right there, but we were able to squeeze on by that defender for the easy touchdown. That's one of our short yardage plays, and it is absolutely money for me when I'm down inside the 5-yard line. Now, my opponent on his following drive tried to drive down the field. He did get across midfield, but right here I had a really nice user interception right here, and he was done right after this. And so that is our first game. Let's hop over to our second game. And so here we are in game number 2. I'm once again, of course, playing as the Miami Hurricanes. We are taking on the Alabama Crimson Tide this time. And unfortunately, like I talked about in the first game, it still doesn't show our records, but I am hoping EA will fix that very soon. And I did get a stop on my opponent's first drive, so we're going to be starting with the ball already across midfield. But as you guys know, we're going to be calling Motion Mesh Post, the best quick snap play in the entire game. And at this point, you guys should also know that I love throwing to my running back flat routes, and my opponent's leaving it open. And guess what? If he's leaving it open, you can make some guys miss after the catch, maybe get a couple broken tackles. It might go all the way for a touchdown. There is no reason to not be taking your running back flat routes. If you learn nothing else from this video, throw to your open running back flat route, guys. I promise it will make your offense way better. So after another quick stop, we are once again going to be starting on the other side of the 50-yard line. And I said, let's go for our bomb. I'm not quite on a hash, but I was like, I think I'm close enough to the hash that it should still work. And what's really frustrating is that you're going to see our post is wide open. Our post is a touchdown, but there was a D lineman who we just didn't block for some reason. And that's, of course, the downside. That's the risk of any bomb you ever attempt. Even though we blocked 7 against a 5-man rush, sometimes the game just does that to you. And so it's high risk, high reward. But our post was open. If we just had any time at all, it was going to be a touchdown. But that's okay. Back to Motion Mesh Post. Back to throwing running back flat routes. Making guys miss. Using some spin moves. That's a cool 30-yard gain from a running back flat route. I probably sound like a broken record, guys, but it really is these fundamental small things that will make all the difference in your games between winning and losing. And so now Motion Mesh Post. Once again, we don't have to do anything special. We just snap this ball. And this time, I'm trying to remember who we're going to be throwing to this time. This time is this drag over the middle. Again, look at the amazing separation. That's another touchdown. Mesh drags against man coverage. I mean, they have no chance. It is as easy as it gets. And so that's 2 very quick scores in the first quarter. Now, our third drive, we're going to be starting even closer to the end zone. We're starting on about the 24-yard line this time. Motion Mesh Post, like always. I mean, you guys have probably, I hope you're not tired of seeing it by now, but you can see just how good this play is, just how versatile it is at beating literally any coverage. And right here on 1st and 10 from the 10-yard line, we're running it once again. I believe I'm going to throw a little bit of a bad read here. I'll be honest, I did not see that hard flat on the right side. The lighting in the Miami Stadium definitely messes with my eyes sometimes. All those shadows on the field, I just straight up didn't see that guy. It was not a good throw. It's not a throw I would recommend. Sometimes that just happens. But now we are on quick rub return, and I want you guys to see the power of the return route in an actual game. Just absolutely no one over there to guard it, and we are in there for an easy touchdown. And finally, for our final drive, I decided to start just running the ball and trying to chew some clock a little bit. And of course, that went absolutely nowhere. We went backwards. And so on the next play, I was like, well, I might as well go back to Motion Mesh Post, the best play in the game. And you're going to see that Motion Mesh Post does not disappoint for us. And I can't remember actually if it's this play or maybe it's the next play. I guess we'll see what happens. But we go ahead and snap the ball. We got easy reads over the middle, and that's a nice completion to our receiver on the drag. And it's really going to be the next play. And so right here on 1st and 10, this is the play that I was thinking of, where as long as you just give it to your receivers in open space, sometimes you can just make a play. And so we got one guy missing, spin out the second guy, a little stutter for a second, and we are gone down the sidelines. That is another easy touchdown. Just throwing to an underneath route in Motion Mesh Post. And my opponent, he quit shortly after this. And so that is how game 2 went, running our Miami offense. And so that is why the Miami offense is the most overpowered offense in college football 26. And don't forget that our full Miami offense game plan is available right now at playbookprofessor.gg. But thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.